day. Welcome to 2021 World Intellectual Property Forum. I'm the moderator, Professor Mei-Hsin Wang from National University of Science and Technology. I'm also the fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry UK. Today I'm here for this panel titled IP Strategy for New Era. In this panel, we're very honored to have Keniji Nagasawa, the Senior Managing Executive Officer, Canon, Dr. Josu Kim, former Chief Presiding Administrative Judge, MediaTek in Korean IP Office, with industry experience at LG, Professor David Wentang Su, VP and General Counsel in MediaTek, and Mr. Shinsu Ogawa, the General Manager of IP entity Docomo. Nevertheless, my co-moderator, Professor Edward Lemon, Managing Partner of Lemon Li Shu. All our eminent panelists are the Senior Executive Officers, VPs, General Counsel, General Managers from the global leading companies. They will elaborate their experiences in handling IP matters and enlighten us their strategy and philosophy in their leading companies. Our speaker is Professor Wentang Su, the VP and General Counsel of MediaTek. Professor Su highly appreciated for joining us. MediaTek is a global family semiconductor company that enables nearly 2 billion connected devices a year. MediaTek is a market leader in developing innovative system on chip for mobile device, home entertainment, connectivity, and IoT products. MediaTek, dedicated to innovation, has positioned MediaTek as a driving market force in several key technologies, including high-power efficient mobile technology, automotive solutions, and a broad range of advanced multimedia products such as smartphones, tablets, digital televisions, 5G, voice assistant devices, and wearables. MediaTek empower and inspire people to expand their horizon and achieve their goals through smart technology more easily and more efficiently than ever before. Therefore, with a revenue of $10.9 billion in 2020, MediaTek is the 4th largest fabless semiconductor company in the world. To be in the leading company, the IPR strategy must be supreme to protect the intellectual access. Therefore, is monetization part of MediaTek's IPR strategy? And if so, what specific monetization project has MediaTek developed over time?
First of all, thank you very much, Professor Wang, for inviting me to the panel. As you described, I work for MediaTek Inc. in Taiwan. We're a company doing semiconductor design. In the industry, we're known as one of the IC design houses, meaning that we employ a large number of engineers. We work on semiconductor design and outsource the manufacturing of our ICs to a semiconductor foundry like TSMC. So in our industry, I mean the IC design house, intellectual property is critical for our competitiveness in the market. You also mentioned that last year we passed the $10 billion revenue landmark.
Yes.
It's a very important stage in the development of our company. And in a typical year, we spend about 25% of our revenue in research and development. So we are a very R&D intensive company.
Yes.
To protect the result of this significant investment, we need to procure adequate intellectual property rights, including patents, but also, to a large extent, also trade secrets. Another important element in our overall intellectual property strategy. So in managing our portfolio, which is fairly large for a company of our size, we have more than 10,000 patent families worldwide. So there are multiple elements in our overall IP strategy. One of these elements or component is monetization. We are a company in the consumer products. Okay, if you look at our product portfolio, we have several important product lines. The first one is modem or SoCs for smartphones. That's a very large portion of our revenue. And the other, also major portion, is multimedia, including television and also other products providing multimedia contents to consumers. So if you look at our technology portfolio, we have a fairly large number of patents on standard technologies. For example, as you know, in the cellular communication area, there's a very significant number of companies working on developing product standards, because it's a field that allows working of products by multiple companies by having a standard technology. So we have a fair number of standard essential patents, for example, in the cellular communication area. We also have a fairly large number of standard essential patents in the multimedia, mainly video compression or video processing related patents. Those are also very important SEPs in our portfolio. The main approach we used to monetize our standard related patents is to join patent pools managed by these management companies. We join major patent pools to generate income for the company, so that we have these income, then we have these source of income to finance our future, partly finance our future R&D. So that's our main approach in monetization of our patent assets.
Thank you very much for sharing the MediaTek, how you monetize your essential standard patent and how you contribute all of efforts to the standard organizations. But how do you ensure the alignment of the MediaTek's R&D, business, and IPR strategy? Because normally in the global companies, the IP is part of the cost. They concern is the cost, but you manage to make it a profit for the return on investment. But to alignment with the other department, it's another very tough task. So would you mind sharing how you do the job in the MediaTek?
We of course, our IP strategy has to be aligned with our business and also technology strategy. We do this by having intellectual property as one of the key strategic items for our management committee. At the top of a company, we have executive management team, including myself, all the VPs and also our CEO. we have extensive discussions at that executive or management level, so that we align our intellectual property strategy with our business strategy. For example, like all the other companies, MediaTek also has annual planning discussions at the top of the company. And we always have our IP or intellectual property management personnel to participate in discussion with both our technical or technology development people and also our business strategy people. So that every year when we decide the budget for our intellectual property spending, we always consider the future business and also technology trends and also business objective of the company. So we can use the limited resources we have in IP spending in a way that's most consistent with our technology and also business objective. So this frequent communication between our intellectual property personnel and also our management, our top management, I think it's critical mechanism to ensure that there's a very close alignment between the three different areas of corporate function.
Thank you very much for sharing how the MediaTek alignment with the business and IPR strategy. But in this panel, MediaTek is the only company who mentioned about the trade secret. It's a very unique approach. So I wonder, would you mind enlighten us how you decide between the trade secret and the patent when you invest in the protection of the MediaTek innovations?
Trade secrets are a very important component in our IP strategy, because the pace of technology change is very fast. Normally, if you have a patent application, you need some time to go through the patent prosecution process to get a patent. Normally, you spend maybe 1 or 2 years from the disclosure of invention to the grant of a patent. There's a period of time, okay? But change in our industry is very fast. So most of these ideas have to be embodied in our innovation, in our products, in our business very quickly. So it's impossible to have everything patented.
Yes.
We just don't have that kind of time, and also, as you know, it is costly to have patent protection. Okay, because you have to pay the attorneys, you have to pay the maintenance cost for your patent portfolio. So I would say most of the companies' innovation or invention have to be protected as trade secrets, in contrast with patents. Okay, so that's just the industry reality because of the fast pace of technological change, and also because of the cost concerns. So there's a pretty significant portion of the company intellectual property to be in the form of trade secrets. And as you know, the scope of trade secrets is much larger than the traditional protection offered by patents. Subject matter is broader. Okay, trade secrets protects not just your technical secrets, but also your business or strategic secrets. As long as you spend efforts or take reasonable measures to protect the secrecy of these valuable know-how, then you're protected against misappropriation. okay, by third parties or by employees, departing employees, basically. So the importance of trade secrets protection, I think, varies among different industries. For semiconductor industry, this is one very crucial or critical form of protection for our intellectual property. So we do spend a lot of human resource in deciding what to apply for patents, and also what know-how to be protected in the form of a trade secrets. So there are several common approaches adopted by many companies. For example, one of the requirements of trade secrets is that you have to maintain the secrecy. You have to maintain the know-how to prevent the discovery of the know-how by third parties. Okay, but some of the innovations, because of the nature of the innovation, it is impossible for you to keep the confidentiality or secrecy of your innovation once you introduce your product to the market. So for those, it is not feasible, to try to protect that type of innovation as a trade secret. Okay, then we have to decide if we want to file a patent for that. Okay, and another consideration, which is also commonly used by many companies, is to confirm whether or not an infringement will be able to be discovered, okay, through lawfully means like reverse engineering. Okay, for technologies that's very, very difficult to verify an infringement, probably not a good idea to apply for a patent, because even if you have a patent, it is not feasible for you to prove an infringement. Then the patent only discloses your know-how without giving you the advantage of having the exclusive right of a patent. So that's another standard you can use to make this kind of decisions. And the third one, of course, is every year you have a limited amount of budget for you to protect, okay, for you to procure protection for your inventions or innovations. And because of this budget constraint, there's only limited number of patents you can procure every year. So the rest of your innovation, of course, have to be kept in the form of trade secrets.
Thank you very much for the excellent, comprehensive sharing how trade secret can play an important role in a high-tech company like MediaTek. Upon the emerging technology and the political policy global influences, would you mind sharing us what is the major challenge for your IPR strategy going forward?
I think one of the major challenges is our mission or our mandate to generate value for the company's investment in intellectual property. For example, patents. Every year we spend a lot of money, yes, okay, in procuring the patent portfolio, and it's becoming more and more expensive, both in terms of the attorney's fees and also because of the over time, you have a bigger portfolio. So even the cost of maintaining that big portfolio is increasing very rapidly every year. So we always have this challenge of making sure that our program of intellectual property generates positive return for the company, either in the form of protecting the company, defensively protecting the company, or positively generating income for the company. Because right now, the intellectual property, unlike other subject matters handled by the legal department, is treated in a very business or management fashion more and more. So we're held responsible, accountable to the company to convince the company that their investment in these patents and also trade secrets, trademarks, other forms of intellectual property rights justifies the resources, the cost that companies spend every year. And that's the major challenge. Okay, as the company become bigger and bigger, we used to have this rough methodology. Okay, when the size of a company, in terms of revenue, when the size of a company increase, then normally the investment in patent matters, including prosecution and also litigation, because as a result of litigation, you pay money to settle the case. Of course, if you win the case, you can claim damages from the defendant. But in any event, this type of calculation or this type of operation is operating more and more like a business unit of the company. So you have to make business sense, okay, including the matters we just discussed about monetization. That's a good example that when you have budgets from a company every year to build up your portfolio, you need to have income, okay, from the portfolio so that the investment would make sense. Okay, you need to show the actual value of having a strong patent portfolio, for example. So that I would say that's the major challenge for our IP managers in a company.
Thank you very much for sharing the insights in MediaTek. And apart from above achievement, MediaTek is also very smart on merger acquisition. As you just mentioned, you have to procure many portfolios and as well. So, for example, 2015, not only procure the portfolio, you also acquire companies like Richtech Technology, a fabulous vendor of analog IC and power management in 2015. In 2017, for acquisition of Iora for radio frequency chips. And again, last year, 2020, the acquisition of Intel affiliation in Pirong for the power management chip as well. We have an audience. They are very curious how MediaTek could smartly choose their target company and how you proceed those merger acquisition.
Yes, M&A, of course, is very important in our industry. There's a general trend of consolidation in the past few years. So we also have a few deals as described by Professor Wang. Up to this moment, I think most of the transaction we have conducted, mostly business driven. Okay, it's not driven by intellectual property, not mainly by intellectual property. But after we acquire a company, during the process of integration, IP portfolio is a very important item of work. So our patent or intellectual property teams are always part of that integration management team. So that because different companies, they have different patent or IP strategies.
Yes.
After a merger, one of the important thing is to try to consolidate because the two companies already become one company. So in the past, they may have different IP strategies. They have different patent portfolio. After the consolidation, it's the intellectual property team's job to look at the portfolios and then decide how to also integrate the patent portfolio of these acquired entities into the main patent portfolio of the company. So this is also important step in our integration effort after a transaction.
Thank you, Professor Su, for your very sincere and detailed sharing on merger and acquisition. We hope next time we will invite you again to elaborate more essence how MediaTek engage in those merger acquisition.